Last episode, we talked about how to grow microgreens, which is perhaps one of the easiest ones to grow at home. After noticing that most of the microgreen kits available in the market has plastic trays, I had discussed with Home Crop on coming up with much more sustainable and easier to use microgreen kits. Today, I'm very happy to introduce you to what is probably India's first microgreens kit that includes a breathable fabric grow bag, which is both eco-friendly and reusable multiple times, specially designed by Home Crop, which is super easy to use and has everything you need to grow the nutritious greens. Let us unbox and see what the box contains. A breathable fabric grow bag, coco pit for growing, 3 varieties of seeds, a spray bottle. Here is how you can use the kit. Soak the coco pit in water for about 5 minutes. Take about 3/4 of the wet coco pit and spread it uniformly in the grow bag. Broadcast the seeds across the surface of the coco pit in a dense layer. No need to worry about getting it perfectly even or spaced out equally. Cover the seeds thinly with a balance of 1/4 of the coco pit. Typically, the seeds would germinate in about 3 to 7 days. Upon germination, ensure that the grow bag is placed in an area that gets sunlight for at least 4 hours. Use the spray bottle given in the kit to spray water a few times a day until the greens are ready. Typically, the microgreens will be ready to harvest in about 7 to 10 days depending on the variety. Upon harvesting, it is advisable that you sun-dry the media, that is coco pit, for about 2 to 3 days and restart the process again to enjoy yet another harvest of nutritious microgreens. So that's one of the most simplest ways to grow microgreens. I look forward to hearing about your experience of growing microgreens. A word of caution though, do not grow tomatoes, peppers, brinjals, potatoes as microgreens. Consuming them as microgreens can make you unwell. Hello everyone. Welcome back to Sustainable Living with Shilpa Reddy, powered by Planet Greens Farm Natura, a new beginning to your life. I am excited to explore yet another green eco topic with you. This is such an important aspect of living sustainably. There is no doubt about the fact that it takes a lot of blue to stay green. Sadly, we are in the midst of a water crisis. Our environment is paying the price for every wasted drop of water. But it doesn't have to be that way, which is what I'm here to talk about. How much water is there on Earth? Ever heard of blue marble? It's a term coined by NASA for the satellite image of the Earth. Basically, when the Earth is photographed from space, you will see a lot of blue with smaller specks of green and white. Our planet is 71% water, and this image depicts that beautifully. But if water is really limitless, then why do we worry so much about conserving water? Well, this is because a whopping 97% of the water is salt water, which means you cannot drink it, you cannot use it for agriculture. 3% is all the water we have to use. It includes our rivers, lakes and groundwater. Some regions are relatively flush with fresh water. This could be either because of the sheer geography, climate or other factors. On the other hand, there are multiple regions which struggle with drought and water pollution. This disparity is huge. This problem is not going to resolve itself. We need to have a sense of urgency here. Just because there's clean water in our taps today, we cannot afford to look the other way. Is our use of water sustainable? Unfortunately, we have been very inefficient water users. The amount of fresh water on Earth has been pretty much constant over the years. Despite this, we are in the midst of the water crisis. This is all thanks to the global population explosion. Not just that, our water use has multiplied 6-folds. The problem is only compounded by this trend. Nature is still doing its bit. Water is constantly recycled through the atmosphere and restored. But our consumption trends are just too high for nature to keep up with. Our rivers and lakes are getting depleted much faster than they can be refueled. This compromises the quality of groundwater by making it saline. Underground water as well is being misused. Over-pumping of groundwater for irrigation, industrial and domestic uses have become too common. Out of the 37 major underground reservoirs in the world, 21 are almost irreversibly empty. Every other day, you'll notice a new borewell being dug up. But how often do you hear of homes planning rainwater harvesting? Very few assume. The pace of our consumption is unsustainable. Growing water pollution also adds to this nightmare. What's your water footprint? 70% of global water is spent on agriculture. This is huge. I was surprised myself when I saw this figure, but it sounds fair when you think of the full value chain. Also, we need to take into account water that is wasted or polluted in this process. In many ways, use of water for agriculture is totally justified. After all, agriculture is our main source of sustenance. Having said that, there is a lot of scope of conservation. Take for instance, water incentive crops such as cotton. It doesn't make sense to grow these in arid regions where water is already scarce. There are a lot of such opportunities for change and innovation. After agriculture, the industrial sector has the second highest water footprint. The balance is attributed towards domestic use. Domestic water consumption accounts for close to 4% of the total. Looking at these numbers, it is obvious that a bulk of efforts need to be geared towards water use in agriculture. But it doesn't absolve you and me or our responsibility. We can still make a big difference. Being mindful about food wastage is one part of the solution. What kind of food we consume also has an impact. Almost a third of water footprint of agriculture is for meat production. Less meat consumption would be directly lead to water savings. Small day-to-day tweaks in our lifestyle can help a lot too. And I say small because in the larger scheme of things, you won't even feel like you're making a huge sacrifice. It's just a starting problem that we need to tackle. If I tell you that the average burger takes 2,400 liters of water to produce, I am sure you'll have a think about it. Sustainability of water is sadly getting worse with rising economic standards. For example, in India, high-income households tend to consume 250 liters per person per day. This can sometimes go as high as 600 liters per day. Many lower-income homes, on the other hand, make do with as little as 40 liters per person per day. This is really food for thought, isn't it? How is that someone able to manage with 40 liters of water? Globally, as well, there is a lot to learn from water-stressed countries as they have already figured out many solutions. It's a kind of thing to say the best ideas come from having to fix a really hard problem. I hope you get the drift. Every single thing we use has been created using water, so conserving water is not just about turning off the taps. Think about it. What is the water footprint like in your home? Spare a few minutes today to jot down the various water uses in your home. You will start to see simple opportunities for conservation. Very little effort can make a big difference. In fact, if possible, install a water meter in your home. You can measure your water consumption month on month to see how you're doing. A look at the positive side. In the last 100 years, the world's populations tripled and water use of human purposes has multiplied six-fold. Water is used for drinking, for producing electricity, for growing food, and the list goes on. The competition for water resources is also constantly increasing. There are a lot of reasons for this, like population growth, urbanization, and climate change. Providing 6 times more water now than 100 years ago had a significant impact on the environment. I hope that gives you some perspective on why water conservation needs to be priority. This doesn't mean that it's all bleak. We need to also recognize and appreciate the progress that's being made. However, major investments in wastewater treatment over the past 30 years have improved the quality of surface water in many developed countries. There has been a worldwide drive to intensify agriculture to produce high-yielding varieties. So you see, there is light at the end of the tunnel and we are going to progress. Our efforts just have to keep intensifying. Individuals and communities who are making a difference. I don't know if you'll all agree with me, but nothing is more inspiring than a good story. I want to tell you about some exceptional individuals and communities. These are people who have made some thoughtful strides in water conservation. 1,000,000 wells for Bengaluru. There is a community of well diggers in Bangalore known as the Bhovi community. They used to have a thriving business constructing and maintaining open wells. They understand the local hydrogeology like no one else. However, in the last 20 years, the demand for their skills dropped drastically. People started preferring bowells and river water over traditional wells for their water needs. This didn't sit well with water harvesting evangelists who launched the Million Wells campaign. According to them, if 1,000,000 wells are dug in the city to harvest rainwater, Bengaluru will never have to face water shortage. These wells are wonderful for storing rainwater. They also recharge the groundwater table. Bengaluru already has 100,000 recharge wells and another 900,000 are needed. Next is Chennai's simple harvesting solution. A 45-year-old man from Chennai created a simple rainwater harvesting apparatus for guess how much? Only rupees 250. Despite its low cost, this water purifier can filter up to 500 liters a day, that too without any electricity. How did he do this? With just a couple of pipes, a cloth filter and a drum, he created a water collection system. This simple device helps trap the rainwater from our rooftops instead of letting it end up in the drains. Such simple yet impactful efforts really warm my heart. Next, Singapore's water education. Singapore used to be one of the countries with the highest risk of water scarcity. But that's not the case anymore. They have accomplished this through a combination of strategies involving desalination, rainwater harvesting, and recycling of water. Most importantly, the country and its media invest a lot of awareness campaigns. Children learn in schools about the importance of water. This has really helped sensitize the citizens towards the importance of water conservation. Singapore has been able to bring down their per capita water consumption to 140 liters per day. This is less than half of US average. How can you and I make a difference? Reduce, reuse and recycle. If there could be one common strategy for all sustainability challenges, this would be it. A lot of the world's water problems can be tackled with these techniques. In your homes too. That's how I would suggest you to look at conserving water. We have done a lot of thinking and came up with a bunch of tips for you. Most of them are super easy for you to implement. You can literally start right now. Some of them require a bit more effort. Start with the small stuff. Once you experience the thrill of giving back to nature, I'm sure nothing will stop you. Shorter, quicker showers. A typical shower of 10 minutes costs you about 50 liters of water. If you just cut that down by half, you will be saving 25 liters a day, which is close to 9,000 liters in a year. Even Virat Kohli and the entire cricket team managed to shower in 2 minutes while on tour in drought-hit Cape Town. Water flow controls. You can attach special fittings to your shower heads and taps to reduce the water flow per minute. Instead of 50 liters for a 10-minute shower, you will end up spending 35 liters only. Bucket baths. This old school trick works for many. A 25-liter bucket is sufficient for a good bath on most days for most people. After all, we did this without any trouble back in the day When showers weren't mainstream, would you consider it again? Turn off the tap while brushing. If you're listening to your dentist and brushing your teeth for the whole 2 minutes, just imagine how much water will be wasted if the tap is kept running. Turn off the tap and you save almost 30 liters of water per day. Fixing leaking taps. What difference could just a drop of second really make? Well, that's 21 liters of water in a day. That's just from one tap. Imagine how much of a difference fixing thousands of leaking taps would make. Honestly, if I notice a leaky tap, I cannot resist in peace until it's fixed. We are blessed to have water coming through our taps. We have to be grateful and accountable for every single drop of water. Flushing of toilets. Every single flush costs us 5 liters of water. Most tanks come with a half a flush options for liquid waste. Avoid a full flush whenever possible and you will end up saving a lot of water. Some people even chose to put a brick or bottle in the flush tank to reduce the amount of water used in each flush. Clothes and dishes. Washing clothes and dishes takes up more water than you think. Why not repeat the pair of jeans if you have only worn it an hour? Consider covering your glass of water to reuse until the end of the day. Also, if you're using a dishwasher or washing machine, make sure you have a full load before running the machine. Lawns. Contrary to what's obvious, lawns are not really green when it comes to water sustainability. To keep lawns green, a lot of water goes in. In hot, dry climates, look for fast-growing, drought-tolerant options. They require moderate watering with a sprinkler or water nozzle when young, but need very little water once they are established. Reuse kitchen water. When you wash your rice or vegetables in the kitchen, use a large bowl to collect the wastewater. You can pour this out into your plants instead of sending it down the drain. Rainwater harvesting. It's really easy to harvest rainwater that lands on your rooftop or in your yard. You can install simple systems to collect rainwater and direct it into underground storage tanks. Rainwater harvesting is a perfect solution, especially in low-lying regions which are really prone to floods. With concrete all around us, rainwater has nowhere to go, so it ends up in the drains. When the rains are heavy, these drains are overtaxed and they overflow. Instead of this, the same rainwater can be used to recharge groundwater levels. Planting trees, this is my favorite. Our concrete jungle cannot soak up rainwater. We have seen the effects of heavy downpours and what they do to our cities. If we plant enough trees, rainwater will have a place and purpose. Trees make the soil richer and they shade the ground. All of this contributes to the retaining of moisture and in turn increasing groundwater levels. Just as trees need water, water needs trees. India's rivers are mainly rain-fed, but we don't have rainfall throughout the year. But we do have forests. Trees make the soil porous, because of which it can absorb and hold rainwater. The water in the soil is then released into the rivers throughout the year. Recycling of water. Water can be recycled and reused too. Capturing water from the 5-minute shower allows the toilet to be flushed up to 10 times. Think about it. Have you heard of the term grey water? It is basically water that has already been used for bathing, showering and laundry, for example. This water can be used again as it is still relatively clean. It's not expensive to set up grey water collection, but remember to use only biodegradable cleaning materials in the home to keep the grey water in usable condition. Spread the message. If you're doing all this and more, please know that you should be so proud of yourself. Really. Give yourself a pat on the back. Please also go out there and educate others around you. Educating the public is really necessary. I would love to know if you have implemented any of the suggestions. Do share your ideas and thoughts in the comment section below. Water is much too precious to me to be wasted away. How you choose to live and use water can make all the difference. Let's create a world where we value clean water and understand the fragile nature of this resource. Let's make a change starting today. Thank you for tuning in today. I hope you had something valuable to take back. See you all next week. Signing off, Shilpa Reddy.